Hello friends and enemies. So we've just emerged from a very long journey into the depths of space where we looked at the entire Cosmic Legion's Book 1 Vakultar wave. We've emerged relatively unscathed on the other side, and you know, after a long journey, you get a little aimless, you don't really know where to go from here. So I found myself pondering, for my next video, do I look at something that I know people will like, or do I look at something that I know I will like? And I went with the second one and chose Bring Art's Kingdom Hearts 3 Axel. So those of you who are veterans of the channel know that I have a deep and unconditional love for Kingdom Hearts. Is it stupid? Yes. Is it convoluted? Yes. Does it make no sense most of the time? Yes. But do I love it with all my heart? Also yes. So I've collected a lot of these Bring Arts figures. Play Arts Kai also came out with a lot of Kingdom Hearts figures. I've never gotten one of those, but I do have, I think all of the Bring Arts ones. And so I do have several that I haven't opened yet. One of those is Axel, and I really don't know why it's taken me so long to open him, because he is one of my favorite characters. We'll talk more about that later. For now, I am talking too much, and we should move on to look at the box. So the box is pretty much what we've come to expect with this line. Anti-knockoff holographic sticker. Warning, choking hazard, not for children under 3 years. Don't give this to children under 3 years, or, well, Axel has really pointy hair, so they might hurt themselves with it. You've got that symbol checkerboard pattern on the sides. Promotional pictures on the back, along with a lot of writing that I cannot read, despite studying Japanese for a while. I can't retain information. The top with a lot of dust on it because he's been in storage. So let's go ahead and open him. So Axel premiered in Chain of Memories, and then he moved on to be a main character of the series. Oh, something fell out. He's kind of a smartass, he's very charming, really kind of intimidating too. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that he's done, he was pretty evil for a while there. Got an instruction manual type thing here, just to make sure you do not break your figure. The joints on these things do tend to be pretty small, so you do want to be careful. It looks like he comes with a good amount of stuff. Historically, the accessories for this line have been pretty good. They usually come with some good accessories, but he has a little bit more than the others. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, his head fell off when I was taking him out of the package. So I just went ahead and replaced the one that was on it, which was this one, with the Axel head. If you don't... God, it's complicated. If you don't know about Kingdom Hearts, it's a little hard to explain, but when you're introduced to him, his name is Axel, and this is what he looks like. Later on in the series, he becomes Lee. This is what he looks like. Basically the same, but without the marks on his face, and a little nicer. But I prefer the Axel head because, I don't know, he just looks cooler. It's a very slight difference, but I don't know, I like it. So, I'm immediately noticing some issues with this figure. And I do like the Bring Arts line, but I have noticed issues with the past few figures that I've looked at. I feel like it's a line that started out kinda strong, but the QC issues have gotten to be a little much. And it's been a long time since I got this figure, so I can't complain anymore probably. Like, the window to return has passed, and that's okay. That was my fault, so I understand. But the main thing I noticed first is this weird shiny smudge on the chest. The rest of his coat is matte black, but there's a shiny bit right here. It looks like maybe the mold, something happened here, like the plastic didn't cure correctly, or it was pulled from the mold too quickly, or something got stuck in that part of the mold. I am not sure, but it is a bit distracting. It's not terrible. It does look a little bit like he spilled chili on his chest and then tried to wipe it off. I don't know. Another thing is that the Axel head has some stray red marks, just like little tiny red marks, probably left over from the shading on the mouth or the eyebrows. Not terrible, but it's definitely there. Those are not supposed to be there. He is a pristine boy throughout the series. Pristine. The last thing I noticed right away, because his head fell off, is the head joint is so shallow. The peg for the head. The neck joint is very long. The hole inside it is deep, but the peg is short comparatively, so the heads just do not want to stay on. That's going to be an issue for posing, I believe. So those are some things I noticed right away. A little disappointing because this is actually a figure I was looking forward to quite a bit, even though it's taken me until now to open them. So Axel is part of Organization 13. They all wear these weird cloaks, and he is the first organization member we've opened up. I've got two others, Roxas and Shion. and I knew they were going to be traffic coning hard, and I was right. This plastic is pretty stiff. It's a little bit malleable, but still pretty stiff. You can't really get up underneath it. It's really hard to reach his legs and adjust them, so it's actually hard to make him stand up at all. There's not going to be much movement you can get out of him, which is a shame because Axel, he's a pretty energetic guy. Also, this foot seems kind of stuck. It doesn't really want to be placed flat on the ground. You can rotate the toe part a little bit and the whole heel follows, but I'm having a hard time rotating it to the correct position. So honestly, not much to this one compared to the other characters, at least as far as the main figure goes. The head sculpt is beautiful, except for the small flaws. The hair is really nice. Axel has some pretty crazy hair. Axel has really cool eyes, and I think they did a good job with them here. Got the inverted teardrop tattoos under his eyes, his cute little stubby eyebrows. He looks like he's wearing eyeliner, but that's just his face. So yeah, see how easy this head comes off? It's just like that took no exertion whatsoever. The neck is really long, and that checks out because, as you can see here, Axel has really interesting proportions. I think that's one of the things I liked about him, is just like his body shape is kind of crazy. He's very long and very thin, like he was stretched on a taffy puller or something. Axel is like the quintessential Tumblr sexy man, and I really don't know how to explain that to people who don't know what a Tumblr sexy man is. It's basically like when a bunch of teenagers come together and decide that a male character is hot. So I had to look it up to try and explain to you guys what a Tumblr sexy man is, and there's several different definitions. A male fictional character, often conventionally unattractive or non-human, with a particularly devoted fan base on Tumblr. That is not Axel. He is attractive, and he is, well, he's a nobody, but he's basically human. But a more fitting definition for him is a fictional character whose fandom agrees is romantically/sexually attractive, and generally a morally gray or villainous anti-hero, kind of a bad boy. And Axel is that. He starts out the series as a bad guy. He does some pretty bad things. He's a bit of a psychopath in the beginning, and he is willing to throw down with children, but to be fair, everyone in Kingdom Hearts is. Every adult in Kingdom Hearts will destroy a child. So I'm sorry if I'm going on too many Kingdom Hearts tangents, but I really love the series and I have a lot to say on it. So let's look at articulation. I'm worried because his pieces are so loose. Decent articulation on the head. The hair, of course, kind of gets in the way. You're not going to get him to look up very much. The neck moves as well, so that adds some additional movement, but that head joint is just too shallow. And I can't get it in further. Some good movement and rotation on the arm. Another thing about, oh, see, his parts come out so easily, and that is something I've noticed recently with the newer Bring Arts figures, is that, I don't know, I feel like they kind of stopped trying as much. The initial ones I thought were a lot better. Maybe I've just got a bunch of bad ones. I'm not sure. Had to adjust this elbow joint a little bit because it was turned around. Yeah, the QC issues on this one, not great. His hand keeps wanting to come off. See, this is why when you get your figure, you should open it right away. That way you can complain to the company or wherever you bought it from, and they might send you a replacement or replacement parts. For me, it's far too late. I got this a long time ago. He should have pretty good movement on the waist, though. He's got a very thin, svelte waist. Not bad. Not bad. Of course, there is the problem of the zipper. 'Cause yeah, I can suspend disbelief and pretend that this is all one continuous line, but it definitely is a little choppy. That's going to annoy some people. So after I review all these figures, Patrick is the one that takes photos of them, and it's something he generally enjoys doing, but I do not think he will enjoy taking pictures of this one. For one thing, he hates Kingdom Hearts. For another, it's going to be very frustrating. These legs. Man, smooth movement on the knee, though, if you can actually reach it. But yeah, there's just like, there's no way. There's no way. Ah, the hand again! Why? Axel, why are you falling apart? I looked forward to you for so long. The feet, swivel. Not so much back and forth. I don't know if it's stuck or just like not allow for much movement. But then you've got this toe joint that attaches to the heel. Doesn't really work well in this one. It's a little bit stuck, I think. So yep, that's Axel articulation. Not much to it. Why won't you stay on? See, these pegs are very small. This hole is very large. I'm probably going to have to patch it with something so the handles stay on. Hopefully the other hands are a bit more, their holes are a little bit smaller. Yeah, he looks good, but yeah, he's not great. I really hope that Roxas and Xion are going to be better. But let's move on to accessories, because the accessories do look really nice. The problem is he going to be able to pose with them? Because he's not very poseable, and his pieces keep wanting to fall off, so I guess we'll see. Of course, we saw the Lee head. This is the head he came with. So Axel is a nobody, which is someone who's had their heart taken from them. He gets his heart back, he becomes human again. The only thing that differentiates him, Axel, from Lee is face tattoos and the willingness to go on a murderous rampage, I guess. As Axel, he has these weapons, these chakram, that are really cool. These are pretty spiky. The plastic it feels high quality, but it also feels like it could be brittle, so just be careful. I can definitely see these sharp points snapping off. But yeah, I always really like these weapons. They look pretty cool. Then as Lee, once he proves the strength of his heart or some nonsense like that, he gets his own keyblade. And that uses the design of the chakram. Then you got this flame blade right here because he uses fire. I like the translucent flame effect. The keyblades in this line have all been pretty good, like a lot of detail in them. The figures themselves lately need some work. Oh, I hate to say it. So he and his buddies like to share sea salt ice cream, and that's what this is. So you get some sea salt ice cream, one for each of them. His friends are still in their boxes, so he's going to have to wait a while to share these. But when I unbox them, they'll each get their own ice cream. You also, oh no, I knew I was going to drop one. I knew it, and then I did it. I said to myself when I was taking them out of the package, you're going to drop one of these because they're so tiny. You should put them in something so that way you won't drop them. And then I didn't, and then look what happened. Okay, I found it. So he'll also come with these little tiny little plastic pieces. Don't drop it. Here's what they look like. So tiny they don't really want to show up on camera. And those are meant to insert into the ice cream holding hand and then put the ice cream in. I don't really know why it was devised this way. I think it would have just been simpler to make the popsicle part of the ice cream stick thicker so it would slide into the hand easier, or just have a hand already holding the ice cream. I don't know. This just seems superfluous, I guess, like over-engineered. But I'm not a toy designer, what do I know? But I think I'm just going to go ahead and stick all these onto the ice creams because they're so tiny. I don't want to lose them again. He'll also come with extra hands. I do like the rack system still that they do for these hands. It's just nice to keep them all together like that. Kind of a relaxed hand, a grabby hand, chakram grabbing hands, and a pointing hand because he does this thing where he points at his head and says, "Got it memorized." It's very dumb. But when I was a child, I loved it. I was like, yeah, I do got it memorized, Axel, you're cool. So let's go ahead and put these on because I don't trust myself not to lose all of them. And of course, every single Ring Arts Kingdom Hearts figure comes with a heart-shaped stand and attachments. And it looks like we will probably be needing that for Axel since he does not want to stand up on his own. I want to test out the chakram hands because man, these hands come off so easily. I am not a fan of that. I really don't know. How do hands go? Yeah, these hands are even worse. These are going to need some work. These are going to need some work for sure. I mean, look how easy that is to just like... Ugh. Yeah. Gonna have to do something with that, maybe put some epoxy in there or something and then let it dry. I don't know. Or some blue tack. I really am disappointed because this line, I really did not have a problem with it up until the more recent figures I started opening up. But this is just, it's pretty bad. Like, there are several complaints I have with this figure. Usually I'm willing to overlook a lot of stuff, and in this case I just can't. It is not a good figure. It looks good. Patrick might disagree, but it does look like Axel, but there's only so much you can do with him with it in this state. And I really hate that. I hate you know, complaining about stuff. But this is just not, it's just not good. Takes a little bit of work to get the hand on the chakram. Yeah, see, it just comes right out of his hand. There's no point. I'm bummed out, you guys. I'm pretty bummed out about this. I'm gonna go ahead and attach this other hand to this other chakram because I don't see why I wouldn't. Because that's all they're gonna be used for. And you know, maybe you guys got this figure too and it's perfect. Maybe you don't have the problems that I'm having, but I can only tell you what my experience is at the moment. And it's not great. Which is a shame, because I do love Axel, and I thought he was going to be a great figure. And I wish that articulation allowed a little bit more for him to get into his classic pose where he's pointing at his head, but it doesn't really want to do that. You can kind of fudge it and make it close, but it's just not there. And man, this foot is the bane of my existence. Come on. Okay, there we go. We got it to move. Maybe he'll stand up now. It's not often I get so bummed out and like frustrated with a figure. I mean, I do get frustrated, but usually it's worth it in the end. For this one, I'm not so sure. This Axel, I'm going to have to like glue and blue tack and stand him in one place and then never touch him again. And he'll look really cool with all the others, but I won't be able to play with him much because he's just frustrating. Just really quick, I wanted to look at height. So Axel is freakishly tall in the game. He's a big boy. Riku is pretty tall also, but I do think that Axel should be even taller than this because Riku is pretty close to his height. Also, the proportions don't look right to me. I mean, Axel's body is very differently shaped than a lot of other characters, but the heads don't look the same size. Like, Riku's face looks bigger than Axel's, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Sora's height against Axel seems about right, but I think that Axel should be even taller than Riku. I'm not sure. I don't know the heights of the in-game models or anything, but I always thought of Axel being very, very tall. So one more thing I want to talk about before we go, and that is the Keyblade. It's the same on most of the Bring Arts figures. I think some of them are different, but most of them have this mechanism where you take the handle off and be very gentle because this is the same plastic as the chakram plastic and it does feel like it could break. So you can just take the handle and the blade part apart, slip the hand onto the handle, and then put this part back on. And then you put it into his hand. He will not hold it. He won't hold it because the peg is too small and the hole in the hand is too big, but at least the hand will be on the Keyblade. So yep, that's Axel. I'm not happy, you guys. If I had opened this right away, or just at least somewhat sooner than I have, then I would be going to ask for my money back or a replacement or something. It's my fault that I can't, and I own up to that. And I'll make do with this one because I made my bed and I'll lie in it. I don't know, for something that costs this much, these are kind of pricey figures. It's unacceptable for that price point, really. I really hope whoever else has gotten one of these has had a better experience than I have. It could be a really cool figure. It's just too many problems, and you know how lenient and like willing to overlook things I am, and even I'm just calling this a failure. And for a character that I love no less, you know? I had really high hopes for him. I'm very nervous now about Roxas and Xion. I haven't had problems like this with any of the other figures. Like, they've had their like little nitpicks and stuff, but this one is just terrible. I'm so sorry, Axel. But we learned something today. Open your figures right away. Check for QC. I like to keep figures in the box unopened until I open them on this channel because I like to go in as blind as I can. It's just fun for me to like kind of discover along with you guys, which maybe sounds lame, but that's just the way I like to do it, even though it makes me look like an idiot half the time because I don't know what goes where or whatever. But the drawback is that I wait a long time sometimes and there are issues and then it's too late to do anything about them. So I think that is enough for today's review. I might just go ahead and crack into the other figures I have and just see. I think it's too late for those too, but you know, I just want to know. So, as always, likes and subscribes are very much appreciated, comments are more than welcome, and I will see you guys on the next one.